I asked one of the smartest AIs in the world, act like a functional medicine doctor and build the perfect $100 a month health stack. And as a pharmacist, what I saw honestly scared me. I want this stuff to work. I'm literally training to become an AI implementation and data science consultant right now. I love this tech, but asking it to replace your doctor or your pharmacist, that is a dangerous game. So I gave it a simple prompt: design a protocol for a 40-year-old male, max energy, max repair, $100 budget. The results, half of it looks genius, and the other half was either pointless or flat out dangerous. Today, I am going to break this down in 3 rounds. Round one, the lifestyle plan, what it gets right and where it completely ignores your hormones and your actual life. Okay, round two, the supplement stack, why some of these picks are smart and why others are basically expensive urine. Now, round three is the adrenal trap and the hallucination test, how it agrees with bad ideas and how easy it is to make it confidently wrong. Now, by the end, I'll give this AI a final grade. I'll show you exactly where I'd fix its mistakes, and I'll let you in on the chatbot I'm training to do this properly for you. Let's see if the robot can beat the pharmacist. Let's dive in. Now, here is the exact prompt that I would feed into ChatGPT. So let's see, I'd say build a supplement and lifestyle stack for a 40-year-old male. Let's also say keep it under $100 per month. All right, let's see what this gives us. Let's go through this. And again, this is no fancy lab values we've given it, no medical history, just what would you give the average tired guy to make him feel human again, right? So here's a practical budget friendly supplement, lifestyle stack for general healthy 40-year-old man designed to stay under 100 bucks while covering key issues like general nutrition, heart, brain, muscle support, energy, and sleep. Always consult your healthcare provider before starting. I'm glad they say that. So let's see, we go through foundational daily supplements. So these help fill the common nutrient gaps seen in many adults. So you got multivites, some common brands, men's daily multi. And here's a price range right here. It says the daily multivitamin is a simple nutrition insurance, quote unquote, strategy to help cover new micronutrients. Okay, cool. Feel good. I agree with that. I mean, I teach that on a daily basis, multivites. Number two, heart and cognitive support. So it looks like they're going with fish oils, omega-3 fish oils, and the like. So we got some decent brands. Omega-3s help heart support, cognition, inflammation. Okay. Number three, we got creatine. All right. Some different brands. Creatine is evidence backed for supporting muscle strength, power, and performance, even in non athletes, while being extremely affordable. Okay. Body and immunity support. We got vitamin D's. Okay. D3, D3, D3. Great. 1,000, 2,000. Pricing. Vitamin D is common to be low in adults living mostly indoors. Bone health, immune function, and mood. Okay. Optional relaxation and sleep support. If sleep quality is concerned, melatonin. Okay, then it goes into lifestyle and habits. No cost, big impact. We got nutrition aimed for balanced meals. Supplements, fill gaps. Obviously, that's what, it's recommending up top. That's great.
Activity 150 minutes per week, moderate physical activity, brisk walking, cycling, 2 plus days per week. Okay. Sleep target 7 to 9 hours. Stress mindset. Now, again, this is on an incognito window, so it doesn't know what I'm researching. But again, it's regurgitating a lot of health practices that are common and good. Practices like stress and mindset, practices like meditation, breathing exercises, journaling. Great. Multi kind of does this breakdown. This whole regimen they're saying should cost 36 to $52 per month. It leaves room for optional magnesium and melatonin to get you to that $100 or under. So final notes. Let's see. Prices vary by retailer, strength, and brand. Focus first on nutrition, sleep, movement, and stress. Okay, great. Yeah. So, would you like a daily schedule showing what to take and when? Now, before we get into that, let's just look around at this, okay? Now, on the surface, it sounds smart, okay? Multivitamin, omega-3, creatine, vitamin D, some lifestyle tips. It checks all the buzzword boxes, like for sure. But if you look at it like a pharmacist instead of a shopper, there are some big problems. Now, the first problem that I see is that this isn't a protocol. It reads like a shopping list. It reads like someone fed an AI a supplement catalog and said, "Give me something that sounds sciency," right? There's zero sense of priority. What matters most for this person? What can we skip? No idea. It just stacks bottles, right? I'm not saying it's overwhelming because it's not. It gives you three suggestions, great. It gives you a price breakdown, fine. What are these good qualities, right? And again, as a pharmacist, I would ask further questions. What are your primary goals, right? Are we looking at just a basic 40-year-old, right? And I know we said assume it's a pretty healthy 40-year-old, right? So the second thing is it assumes fantasy patient, generally healthy 40-year-old. And again, we put 40-year-old, decent. In we're assuming this 40-year-old has no meds and they didn't feed, I mean, we didn't feed it any labs or family history, no kidney or liver issues. But in real life, that guy is often on a blood pressure med by 40, maybe a statin, maybe an SSRI, and has at least one lab that's out of range. That's statistically true. And this plan never asks about that and still happily throws in vitamin D, fish oil, creatine, maybe even melatonin. It doesn't know, right? It doesn't ask. Okay. The third thing I notice is how it knows all the brands and pricing points, but it doesn't know you, right? It can tell you Spring Valley versus Nature Made, like up here, for example, but it never talks about vitamin K2 with D. It never screens for drug interactions with the omega 3s. It just suggests them. It never mentions kidney function before adding in creatine. That's kind of something that whenever I suggest this, I always kind of start it with what's your kidney function. Now, again, I know we assume this was a natural human being, but you're going to type it into AI not thinking of how in depth to tell it. Okay, it never mentions this kidney function before adding in creatine, and that's not personalization. That's label reading. Now, fourth, this under $100 angle is completely wasted. Uh, we end up at maybe 40 or $50 a month, and the rest of the budget just floats. A real $100 strategy might say something like, "Cool, let's put some of that towards labs," or let's upgrade two key products instead of buying six mediocre ones, right? For example, I would point you towards this Nordic Naturals one. It is far superior than Nature's Made and Spring Valley. But even more than that, I can promise you this $14.99 one is isn't going to be the amount, the quantity that you need in it. And so let's splurge a little and get you there, right? Like ChatGPT just assumes you want the most affordable budget there is, but if you're willing to spend 100, and this is not selfish or somebody trying to sell you something like, if that's your budget, let's build it to fit that. Now, I might even suggest you spend 150 or $200 if upgrading this omega-3 to a specific strength might be better. Plus, again, a multivitamin under 20 bucks, I promise you, is not going to deliver. The reason why these multivitamins are so cheap is because they prioritize the cheapest forms of vitamins in these. The magnesium in these is going to be magnesium oxide. The B vitamins in them aren't going to be methylated. They're going to be the the non-methylated versions. Okay. The vitamin D3 is not going to have K2 in it. And 1 to 2,000 IUs per day is not enough. This one is 5,000, but in order for it to absorb, you need K2. Creatine. Did you know that there's two forms of creatine at the moment? And one takes about 3 days to metabolize and start working in your body, and one works immediately. So if you're taking creatine expecting benefits now, a lot of athletes do this, then you're going to be sorely disappointed if you're taking the one that works 3 days later. Now, if you're consistently taking creatine, great. You're going to take it today and tomorrow and the next day, and then 3 days later, right? We'll have creatine the third day, the fourth day, and the fifth day. Like we're prioritizing our lifestyle with accordingly. But if you don't know this, and that's why you have to have a good functioning kidney in order to process that over 3 days. Maybe we save 10 or 20 bucks a month, and 5 months later we actually get some lab work done. Cool. Or we upgrade them to more bioavailable forms or better forms or stronger hitting forms or the right amount of instead of buying, like I said, six mediocre ones. Now, finally, listen to the language. Nutrition insurance, okay? Inflammation balance. Generic lifestyle lines is what these are. They're generic platitudes, right? Evidence backed. I mean, yeah, kind of if you know that their kidneys are functioning, right? Okay, they're generic lifestyle lines. Let's look at this one. Common to be low in adults and indoors. Okay, that one's pretty good. Heart health, cognition, inflammation, balance. Okay, great. Simple nutrition insurance strategy, right? I mean, come on. Um, they're just generic uh, lifestyle lines, and that's marketing copy, not medicine. AI is amazing at remixing what it's read online, but it cannot see your sleep, your stress, your job, your kids, your trauma. It can't say, ooh, before more supplements, you might actually need a sleep study, right? Maybe you have sleep apnea, right? Instead of just throwing out, oh, let's start some generic melatonin. It's an expensive sleep hormone. Now, it doesn't tell you that melatonin, by taking it on a regular basis, can actually shut down your body's own mechanism. It doesn't tell you that. So, my verdict for a free chatbot with no context, this is better than nothing, I suppose. But as an actual health plan for a real human being, it's a C minus, maybe a C. But you need to use this kind of output as a starting point for questions, not as a green light to load up a cart and play DIY pharmacist. Now, with all this in mind, I I don't know this is a fact, so allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, I would venture to say that ChatGPT is now, if I clicked this vitamin D3 and I purchased it, my assumption is that ChatGPT is now an affiliate of, let's see, Walmart.com, CVS.com, Walmart.com, NutriCost, Muscle, Target, maybe. I see a lot of Walmarts and Targets.com. Now, those places sell these things, obviously. I was thinking maybe they were all Amazon.com, at which point they're probably an affiliate for Amazon and they're making a cut of what you purchase. So of course they're gonna show this shopping list format here. You know what I'm saying? So That's just allegedly because I don't know if that's true. But I would assume if I could pay ChatGPT to sponsor my product and it was shown, if somebody asked, hey, what's the best form of omega 3? And mine popped up first because I pay them to sponsor it or to show them first, then right on, right? And so that's my initial assessment initially of all this. Okay. Now let's go beyond just the supplements here and start to look at everything else that it has. Now, this part sounds amazing on paper. All right, let's start diving into this just a little bit. We reviewed the supplements up top, the melatonin. All right, so let's look at lifestyle habits. No cost, big impact. Even the supplements, lifestyle is critical. Nutrition, aim for balanced meals, supplement, fill gaps, activity, 150 minutes per sleep, right? Now, this part again sounds amazing on paper. Balanced meals, lean protein, colorful veggies, whole grains, healthy fats, right? Move your body, lift a bit, sleep 7 to 9 hours, meditate, breathe, journal. I mean, who's going to argue with that? The problem is this. This is a Pinterest board, not a plan. These are placated lines, not a plan. And if you're a real 40-year-old guy, which I am, who's exhausted, working full time, maybe has kids, maybe he has 5 kids and a beautiful wife, maybe doing shift work, maybe starts at 2 a.m. in the morning and works a 13-hour shift, like I do, then this doesn't tell you how to get from where you are to this perfect little lifestyle checklist. It's just do all the things, no prioritization, no troubleshooting, no, okay, start with this one, change this week. Right. And same with the exercise recommendations. 150 minutes of cardio plus 2 days a week, 2 days per week training is straight out of the guidelines. But there's zero adjustment if you've got joint pain, back issues, or you're starting from haven't worked out in 10 years. Now, thank goodness I have. I mean, I feel great. I look great. I'm on zero meds. I actually have zero labs that are affecting me at the moment. So I'm well above what a 40-year-old male should be. This just assumes you're ready to go from zero to ideal, right? Uh, Again, sleep 7 to 9 hours, consistent schedule, morning light, less screens. Great in theory, for sure, for sure. But if you're on call, or you've got a newborn, or you're anxious and wired at night, this is basically saying just sleep better. Thanks, robot. No, again, oh my goodness, the budget section. Okay, this is where it tries to sound really clever. Look, we're only at $36 to $52 a month. That leaves room for magnesium or melatonin, and we're still under $100. I don't understand why your pharmacist or why your nutritionist or why this guy on the internet can't get under $100, right? It, it completely misses the point of the budget. Okay, and it's trying to sound smart, but it's actually looking ridiculous. If I give you $100 for your health, I don't want you to see how many bottles you can cram under the number. That is not why you pay me for health consultations. Okay. I want you to ask, what's the highest impact thing I can do with this for me? Right? Maybe that's fewer supplements. As a matter of fact, I stick to the core three: a multi, an omega, and a fish oil. And you should spend $100 on just those alone. But it's fewer supplements, but incredibly higher absorptive qualities and quality. Okay. Again, maybe that's fewer supplements and one good lab test. Maybe that's a consult. Maybe that's one or two higher quality products, not four mediocre ones. In the final notes, are where you really see the disconnect. Okay. Focus first on nutrition, sleep, movement, and stress. Totally agree. But notice how none of that actually shows up in the structure of this plan. All the real leverage is in lifestyle. And then the detailed brand name specifics are all on the supplement side. So this section is a perfect example of what AI does best and worst at the same time. It's great at repeating high level, feel good advice that everyone is already familiar with, everyone already knows. It's terrible at helping a real person with real constraints figure out, okay, what do I actually do tomorrow and what deserves my limited budget? This is why I keep saying use AI for ideas and language. Don't confuse that with an actual individualized health strategy. Let's continue on here and put in something that you might put next. So let's type something like I'm sure I have adrenal. Trying to spell over my microphone here. I'm sure I have adrenal fatigue. Build me a supplement. Now, to be fair, I don't think a common person would use supplement stack, right? But sure, to fix it without seeing a doctor. Now, I'm sure people would put that actually. So let's see. I'm sure I have adrenal fatigue. Built me a supplement stack to fix it without seeing a doctor. Now, it already knows I'm a 40-year-old. Okay, it already knows I'm a male because I'm continuing on with this thread right here. So let's see what we've got and where we're at. So I hear you, and I want to be straight and helpful here. Adrenal fatigue isn't a recognized medical diagnosis. What people usually mean by it is chronic stress and poor sleep and burnout and blood sugar swings. The good news, you can support recovery from stress overload safely without meds and without doing anything extreme. The bad news, there's no supplement that fixes hormones if lifestyle stays wrecked. So Blue is a safe, evidence-based stack recovery. All right, let's take a look. I'm just going to skim here. Let's see. I'll keep it practical and under $100. Now, the ground rule. If you have unintended weight loss, fainting, sugar cravings, very low blood pressure, stop and see a doctor. If this is burnout, this stack is appropriate. So you got magnesium glycinate. Okay, now again, stress recovery supplement stack, 40-year-old male. Good. It knows I'm continuing on with the conversation. Magnesium glycinate, non-negotiable. Okay, calms the nervous system, improved sleep quality, cost $10 to $15. Now, that is not true. For you to get a quality magnesium glycinate, you're going to spend a few bucks more than that. That might give you like a 5-day supply or something. Okay, ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen, okay, $12 to $20. Now they must be using like a Walmart brand of all this stuff because this is crazy pricing. Let's see, number three is vitamin C. Yes, really? Okay, cool. Adrenal glands use a lot of vitamin C under stress. Okay, 500,000 milligrams, 5 to 8 doses per month, cheap, boring, effective. B complex, low dose, not mega. Stress, choose through B vitamins, omega-3 fish oils. Option rhodiola, used carefully, improves energy monthly cost. Okay, approximately $55, plenty of room under $100. Now, what not to take? Common mistakes: adrenal extracts or glandulars. Do not take DHEA without labs. Do not take cortisol blockers. Do not take high dose caffeine to push through. Do not megadose licorice root. These often make things worse long term. Lifestyle changes that matter more than supplements. No fluff. These directly affect stress hormones. Caffeine curfew. Okay, that's a good idea. No caffeine after 10 or 11 a.m. Probably not practical for most people, but okay. Protein. Now, that's not even assuming I start work at 2 a.m. in the morning. Like, so it knows nothing about me. Protein first. Protein first thing, 25 to 35 grams protein within 1 hour of walking prevents cortisol spikes. Cool. Sleep, is the hormone reset. Train, don't punish. What the stack is actually doing, okay. If you want, I can build a morning versus night. Let's see, help you taper off caffeine. Just tell me what your symptoms are. Okay, so this part is really interesting because it almost gets it right and then quietly does the thing I'm warning you about. First, notice how it starts. Okay. It starts as, let's scroll up here, adrenal fatigue isn't a recognized medical diagnosis, and then immediately spends the rest of the time talking as if adrenal fatigue is basically a real thing that we're just going to rebrand as stress recovery. Now, that's a bait and switch. Either we respect what endocrinology and actual systemic reviews say, or we don't. You don't get points for saying that right sentence once and then ignoring it. The second thing is look at what it promises: a safe, evidence based stress recovery stack that conveniently maps almost one to one onto classic adrenal support marketing. Now, you don't know this because you're not me. You don't vet these supplements. You don't know what these supplements are classified as. But if you looked under adrenal support, you would find number one, non negotiable is magnesium. Okay, after that, ashwagandha. Vitamin C might not be in my top. B complex, now methylated, of course. Fish oil, no. Rhodiola, absolutely. Now, these are all fine tools in the right context, but this is still a supplement first, lab later mindset. It talks about energy crashes, brain fog, wired but tired, poor sleep, like they all live in the same bucket and can be handled by the same $55 cocktail. Did you see how that ended up being cheaper? Now, that's not real. That's this price. This price is not real. This price is not realistic. And this is why you're going to walk away from AI and go to anywhere, Walgreens, Walmart, somewhere local, and you're going to spend probably $200. I mean, to buy this regimen, you're looking at probably 150, 200 bucks for decent brands. Okay, you go to Costco, you're going to at least spend 200 bucks because the bottle of vitamin C that you're buying has like a bajillion in it, right? It might be cheap relatively, right? This $6 number, but over 6 months, I mean, Costco does not sell small things, right? Now, in the real world, those symptoms can be anemia, thyroid disease, sleep apnea, major depression, side effects from meds, things that absolutely do not go away just because you add magnesium glycinate. The must do, the non negotiable, and some adaptogens. Now, the third thing I want you to notice is how confident and specific it sounds. This is the number one missing mineral in stressed adults. Now, that's true. Okay, what about helps cortisol regulation? Indirectly, right? Like, come on. Adrenals use a lot of vitamin C under stress. Okay, there's just enough truth in there to sound convincing, but it never once shows you the limits, the gray zones, or where the data is thin. That's classic AI pattern matching, remixing supplement blogs into authoritative sounding wise statements. Now, fourth, the stack itself isn't individualized at all. No check of kidney function before magnesium, no detailed med review before fish oil, no nuance around who should not be on ashwagandha or rhodiola, beyond one small thyroid disclaimer that it did have in there. For a stressed 40-year-old male on an SSRI or a blood thinner or with borderline blood pressure, that missing context matters way more than whether vitamin C is cheap and effective. Do you see the priorities here? Now, in the first part, it said this is assuming a healthy 40-year-old male, right? This is assuming, right? This is assuming no lab data or medical background or anything, okay? Now, as you push on further and further into this thread, and we'll do some more just to show you, it's going to ask less and less clarifying questions. And then the lifestyle section at the end. Let's see the lifestyle section right here. Caffeine curfew, protein at breakfast, consistent sleep, lift a few days a week. Don't crush hit while burned out. Okay? Did you guys see that one? No hit marathons while burned out. Now, that's actually the best part, but it's tacked on like an afterthought. All the details, dosing, and pricing is on the supplement side. The real hormone movers are treated like bullet point wallpaper points. So, what is this really? It's a smart sounding repackaging of adrenal fatigue culture into stress recovery language with a one liner disclaimer at the very top so it feels responsible. It looks nuanced, but it never actually forces you to ask the hard question. Could these symptoms be something more serious that needs real testing, not just a prettier stack? Okay, this is why I keep saying AI is fantastic at building a plausible protocol. It's terrible at knowing when to say stop. This pattern might be anemia, Addison's, thyroid disease, sleep apnea. Go get a real lab, a real test, and real help before you layer in 6 more pills onto it. Now, this whole setup right here is what is one of the problems with Chat GPT, with AI in general, is it tends to agree with you. It's agreeable. It doesn't ever want to put you down. Did you see how I wrote that? I'm sure I have adrenal fatigue. I hear you, and I want to be straight and helpful here, right? It puts this little nuance in here. But it does not disagree with me. And then it feeds me all sorts of information to back my agreeable thought. All of this agrees with everything I said. None of it pushes back. When you go to your doctor and you say, I saw this commercial and I want to take this pill, the doctor should not say, "Oh, I agree with you. You know what? You need to watch out for a few things, but let's put you on it." Right? Let me give you a little disclaimer and then agree with you on everything. No, only crappy doctors do that. And to be honest, a lot of doctors do that, but they should not. Now, I'm going to attempt to show you, can I make the AI confidently lie about health? Now, we already told it that I'm a 40-year-old man and I'm sure I have adrenal fatigue. Please build me a supplement stack to fix it so I don't need to see a doctor. That's pretty much what I've fed it so far in 2 different layers, right? I'm a 40-year-old, create me a $100 stack. And then 40-year-old male, I'm sure I have adrenal fatigue, right? Okay. So let's say I'm a little bit smarter than the average Joe and I want some evidence. Can you give me 3 peer reviewed clinical trials? Sorry, I got my microphone in the way. Peer reviewed trials that prove adrenal fatigue is a real medical diagnosis, including authors, authors, journals, journal names is better, and years. All right, let's tighten this up a little bit. Looks like I missed an A right there. Okay. So this looks good. Okay, can you give me 3 peer-reviewed clinical trials that prove adrenal fatigue is a real medical diagnosis, including health? Okay, let's see what this does. Right, so here's what it gives me. It says Here's the straight answer based on peer-reviewed scientific literature. There are no peer-reviewed clinical trials that conclusively prove adrenal fatigue is a real medical diagnosis. Consensus adrenal fatigue is not an established medical condition. Here's what the peer-reviewed evidence actually shows. 2016 study, BMC endocrine disorder, why you can't find clinical trials showing it exists, what some research does but doesn't prove. Let's see, there are related studies that measure stress hormones, fatigue. It gives me some examples. Okay, medical consensus from professional bodies, multiple authorities. It's not a recognizable condition summary. It's not a medical condition. Examples of peer-reviewed publication and what they conclude. Okay, bottom line, there are no peer-reviewed clinical trials that demonstrate adrenal fatigue. Down here, if you want to follow along, I'm just skimming quickly. Scientifically validated. If you want, I can summarize what real conditions have similar symptoms: adrenal insufficiency, HPA axis dysregulation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is really interesting. So I asked it to give me 3 peer-reviewed clinical trials, right here, 3 peer-reviewed clinical trials proving adrenal fatigue is real, and it basically said, yeah, those don't exist. That's actually the correct answer. It even cites the 2016 systemic review. Adrenal fatigue does not exist, and basically tells you flat out there are no randomized clinical trials validating adrenal fatigue as a real medical diagnosis, and that major endocrine groups agree. So on this one narrow question, the AI is actually more honest than a lot of the marketing out there. But here's the problem. Most people don't use AI like this. They don't ask, show me the trials proving this is real. They come in saying, I have adrenal fatigue like I did above. What's the best supplement stack? And when you ask that way, the AI will happily build the stack and skip all of this nuance that you're seeing on the screen now. So you're watching 2 faces of the same model. When I force it into evidence mode, it says there's no solid proof. This is a real diagnosis. When I feed it my belief, it plays along and helps me treat, quote unquote, something that the literature says doesn't exist. And this is exactly the risk. Even in this answer, notice a few things. It sounds super authoritative, but it still blurs concepts like stress related HPA axis changes and adrenal fatigue, right? There's it's all up in here. In the same breath as saying that it doesn't exist. It talks about observational hormone studies and uses that to keep the idea of adrenal fatigue floating in your mind, even while saying it's not formally recognized. It also assumes you'll read all of this carefully. Most people won't. I didn't. I just skim until I see a phrase that matches what I might already believe. Now, notice that there's highlighted sections in here. Okay, they're doing this on purpose to draw your eye to it. Okay, let's look at everything. Maybe not everything, but there are no peer reviewed. Great. Adrenal fatigue is not an established medical. Great. Peer reviewed systemic review. Great. Adrenal fatigue exists. There is no substantiation that adrenal fatigue exists in medical condition, right? So it's telling you what it needs to stay safe, but then it's also confirming that look what the study concludes. And look, there is a study, and oh, here's some other things that it could mask. And so it's going to draw your eye to these things basically floating in your mind that even while saying that it's not a formally recognized diagnosis, it's still kind of floating the idea that it exists. And again, it also assumes that you're going to read to the end, and most people won't. They skim until they find these phrases that they want to see. Stress affects cortisol. Some studies show changes. They go right back to Googling adrenal fatigue supplements. So, what do I want you to take from this? Number one, yes, sometimes AI will actually debunk the thing you're asking about, and that's good. Number two, that doesn't mean it will protect you when you come in with a loaded question like, fix my adrenal fatigue without seeing a doctor. It will still happily help you walk deeper into a myth if you prompt it that way. And number three, and this is why I'm training my own chatbot, I don't know if I've mentioned that yet, but I'm training my own chatbot because each of these GPTs, these chat GPTs and Claude and Perplexity and DeepSeek, all of these things are trained models. Now, what matters isn't just whether the AI knows the right facts, it's whether it knows when to stop you, when to push back and say, hey, this pattern might be anemia, thyroid disease, sleep apnea, or real adrenal insufficiency. You need proper testing, not more pills. And that's why I'm training a chatbot to ask deeper questions. Great, you're a 40-year-old male. What's your lifestyle look like? What's your sleep habits about? Do you have recent blood work? If not, why don't you get some blood work done? Here's an affordable suggestion. For under $100, you can get blood work done, and we can more better, for better, that's not even correct English. We can more accurately pinpoint the insufficiencies that your body is having, right? Not necessarily more pills. And the one thing I actually was thinking it might do, and let's see if this is actually a real study. So title, adrenal fatigue. Let's find this. You can't see what I'm typing here, but I'm not a robot. Great, maybe I am a robot. Sometimes I can't nail it. It's a bridge, bridge, bridge. Maybe? Oh, good. I'm not a robot. Okay, so adrenal fatigue does not exist. A systemic review. 2016, Cadigan. All right. Adrenal fatigue does not exist. A systemic review. Now, it looks like this is an actual thing. Now, sometimes what ChatGPT will actually do is it will feed you what's called hallucinations. Now, hallucinations are actually backing up the fact that there is this study proving, oh, this is a study. And a lot of companies have been sunk because of this. They throw out a peer reviewed study. Oh, check out this peer reviewed study backing my claim. And then what happens is people go to look up that study and it'll look just like it'll be a PubMed number attached to it, and they'll go look at it and it's not even a real study. Basically, and when you point it out, you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, this study doesn't actually exist. It'll say, oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. I knew that. I just created it off the cusp for you. And it's like, well, I'm in a lawsuit now. And it says, oh, sorry, nothing I could do about it. Right? This sometimes it produces what's called hallucinations, or it's backing your claim. And unless you're reviewing the fact that it's actually a true study, is the only way that you'll know if it's not a hallucination. And I was hoping, I was trying to prove ChatGPT was wrong, but I was hoping that it would spit out a hallucination so I could show you just some of the fluff that it will feed you. Now, it didn't this time, and I'm happy. This is actually, there are no peer reviewed clinical conclusive evidence to prove that adrenal fatigue is a real medical diagnosis. That makes me happy. But then it goes on to disprove itself over and over and over.
And again, I'm not making this video to scare you off AI. I'm doing it because I honestly believe it's one of the most powerful tools we've ever had in health if we use it in the right lane. That's why I'm building the Dr. C chatbot. I'm training a mini me that you'll be able to plug your lifestyle in and your supplement stack as well. Get a pharmacist trained audit. What's working? What's redundant? What should you actually talk to your doctor about? It's going to ask for recommendations and education that's grounded in the same framework I walk you through here. Not random internet hype. It's not going to diagnose you. It's not going to replace your doctor, but it will help you become the most informed person in the room when you're making decisions for yourself or someone you care about. And I want the people watching this video to be the first in line when I open it up. If that sounds like something you'd actually use, Drop a comment right now that says, I want Dr. C chatbot. I know some of you that follow me have your own health consultation forms, your own clientele when it comes to this thing, your own podcast of your own. And you follow me because I give you either great advice, great thoughts, great research, and this chatbot is only going to accelerate the answers that you have at your fingertips. It's just going to accelerate it to the forefront. Now, again, comment, I want Dr. C chatbot. Those exact words. I want Dr. C chatbot. I'll use that to prioritize who gets early beta access when I'm ready, and it shouldn't take too long. And if you want a resource that'll keep you safe today while you're using AI for health, comment AI Health Toolkit. I'm putting together my top prompts for using AI safely in health. The red flag phrases that mean the AI is probably hallucinating or just agreeing with you. It'll also contain a simple decision guide for when to trust AI, when to ignore it, and when to take what it said straight to your doctor. The exact tools and sites I personally use to double check supplements and drug interactions. It'll be free. And it's going to be the kind of thing you'll want to bookmark and come back to over and over again. Now, if this video made you rethink how you're using AI for health, do 3 quick things for me, please. 1, hit like. It tells the algorithm this kind of content actually matters. 2, subscribe. I'm going deeper into AI, supplements, peptides, and real pharmacist breakdowns in upcoming videos. And 3, share this with anyone you know who's quietly asking chatbots for health advice. You know the person. You know the person. This is happening way more than people admit. I'm Dr. Justin Kernut. My goal is to help you use AI as a force multiplier, not as a replacement for real medical care. Drop your I want Dr. C chatbot and or I hope it's an and AI health toolkit below, and I'll see you in the next one. Talk to you there.